Actually, this lab, this activity was already existing before the program. So it's not like we started something completely new because of Sostenuto, but the Sostenuto project helped us to use a regular activity of my organization to put it in a larger Euro-Med frame, so to say, which is very important for us because we are in a business, in an activity which is music, which is extremely centralized to major companies, to centralized interest in the main capitals like Paris, London, New York, etc. And it's very difficult for us to have a side view on what is happening with colleagues in the other Mediterranean countries, because we are all looking to Paris, London, Berlin, or whatsoever. So this opportunity of Sostenuto helped our lab to take in account the reality of people in Spain, of the same kind of people in Spain, in Italy, in Slovenia, in the Balkans, and to try to connect new networks, transversal networks, I would say, that were not existing before. So of course this is a major change. Now things are not, you don't change such realities in a snap. It takes some time. So we just started actually the connection with this partnership, and we really need to go further. But the idea of transversality, interregional, which is, it is funded by Interreg European money, and it's exactly that. It's the name of it. We are trying to develop interregional relationship between us through the different labs, including our lab. Well, it's exactly that. We started our incubator because, as you know, our activity in this program is to put our incubator of small and cultural businesses. We have this in Marseille. It has no sense to have such an incubator in Marseille if you don't orient the result of it in our area, not toward Paris, London, etc., but towards the, I would say, Med-Arab area. And you cannot address this area with this small incubator in Marseille if you don't have a network. So you need to reinforce first the network, the partnership, and this is what was done, to my point of view, with Sostenuto. And from these 2.5 years of work with building up with friends, we can eventually address a larger area which is much more Med or around the Mediterranean, Euro-Arab oriented. So for me this is the future. It's not easy because many people, including in the top level managements of the European institutions or in the national institutions, they don't have a clear view of what is the relationship between Europe and Mediterranean or Arab country as far as local cultural activists are concerned. They have a vision which is much more diplomatic or, you know, institution level. But in fact, on the ground, things are not happening always the way they believe they happen. So we have to make them understand, and such projects is there also for that. What is the reality of the concrete, everyday reality of culture activists, artists, producers, and things like that. And if we all understand this activity, this reality, then it might profile a little bit differently the way institutions, I would say, roughly spend money on this issue. Because there are some priorities that people do not see eventually very clearly. I think the Arab Spring is also here to make us understand that these priorities might not be the one we believed they were. Things are changing faster than our minds. And so the future is there. So we are experienced with the very complex, complicated way of dealing with the administrative and financial system. We learned a lot Maybe now we can start at the upper level or larger level, or I don't know, but just, you know, keep on doing, creating this transversal regional networking, which is of course very important for our artists. Otherwise they all will have to go to some golden triangle somewhere in the north, where they will find money, job opportunities, but not in our regions. So this is also why I believe our local politicians, they must understand this too, because this is also their problem, because I don't believe that any of our local politicians would admit that their regions are dead place with no artists, no young people, no creative industry, no creation of any kind. They all want their regions to be creative and you know, with young people and artists. And so this is very nice. We all agree on that, but there are conditions for that. So they have to understand it. The limits, I wouldn't speak about difficulties. I would rather speak about limits. It's a bit paradoxal. It has to see with, it has to see with culture. The people in the administration, in the EU administrations, or the national administrations, because we always complain about EU administration, but I have to say that the administrative difficulties we had during this project were more linked to national administrations than EU administrations. So, to be fair, it has to be said. It is also the fact that we, as cultural operators, we are not used also to this kind of perspective. So yes, sometimes it's too bureaucratic, but also raising European funds and using European funds for, I would say, even philosophical reasons cannot be done the same way we used to do with our national or local authorities. We are facing an administration which does not have the same objectives than our local or national administrations. Very different objectives. Therefore, the rule to raise the money and to spend the money is not the same. So it took me some time to understand it, but this project helped me to understand this very well. So yes, they are bureaucratic sometimes, and much too bureaucratic. I agree, and it was not funny for me as for our colleagues. At the same time, I must warn everybody that there is some kind of mental change to be done in the way we drive the administrative level of these projects. We don't work as we used to work before. Things have changed, which means that inside our teams, we have to have our own administrative staff to be trained and to be changed in order to adapt to this new situation. And we have to, because if we are not able to make this change, we're going to have hard times in the future, whether we apply to European funds or not, because the whole situation is changing. We are not anymore applying to subventions. Please, Mr. Lord Mayor, give me money. This is finished. We are applying to programs. Actually, European money is not considered subvention. It is considered an open public market. So it's a public offer, and you answer to the public offer. You answer to a market, and you have to be good enough to be chosen to answer to this market, and you are in a kind of a business relationship. I know people don't like it, but this is the way to get the money today. That's for one point. Second point, once I have said that, I would warn everybody, which is the opposite position, that what we deal with, we cultural people, is a raw material which is extremely noble and very precious, which is creativity, artists. And this is at the core of the thing. It's at the center. We are not doing programs for the good sake of doing programs because we have fun to do programs. We do programs because we want to protect creativity and the artists. So this is the basic, and we must never forget this, that at the heart of all our initiatives, this is the art, and this is the creativity that is at stake. And we shall not do anything that could harm or bring damage to the creativity and the artistic expression, because this is the heart of the thing. So this is always coming first. Administration and programs come second. So this is something that you are always on the edge when you deal with this kind of programs, that sometimes you forget about why you are doing this. We do that for the artist and the creativity and the benefit of the collectivity.